So I'm from the Midwest. I'm not from Brazil. And so I cannot keep up with Carolina's cadence for speaking. So I have many fewer slides because I talk slower than Carolina does. I'm always impressed at how she can deliver so much information and so much dense technical expertise through her presentation. So thanks for that. One of the ways that we are working together is on a project that has a really tough acronym. Well, actually, the acronym isn't so hard, right? We affectionately call this project BBSEER because Biscayne Bay and Southeastern Everglades ecosystem restoration, right? Like it's a really long acronym that we affectionately call BBSEER. And what is BBSEER? This is a comprehensive planning study that has to do with restoring the bay. That's what this is all about. And this takes a lot of interaction. Many of you in this room are already participating. And so you already know a lot about this project, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. This project is retrofitting that stormwater system that Carolina talked about. It's retrofitting it to be more ecologically friendly, but still be able to deliver the flood control that was envisioned back in the 50s. And so that means that for today and for tomorrow, this project needs to respond to those climatic changes that Carolina was talking about. So what's our vision for BBSEER? First, keep Everglades water in the Everglades. Second, restore the coastal gradient and the bay's habitat. Third, freshwater, stormwater, any water at all, let's move it from the north part to the south part. Too much water is going into the northern part of the bay. We need some of that water to come to the southern part of the bay. And in both places, it needs to be clean. Fourth, consider wastewater reuse options as a supplemental source of water that isn't dependent on additional storage. So that sounds easy, but it's not. It's really technically challenging. Part of the reason that it's challenging is because the CNSF system drastically changed the hydrology and damaged the habitats of the bay. We know that. But we also know that we have 9 million people in South Florida that live and work and love to be here. And that number is growing every day. And so what do we do about that? We adapt, we overcome, and we plan for the future. And we're building the tools in this project in order to be able to model those processes, both the natural processes and the impacts of our development, and how do we make those work together so that we can build a restoration project of the future. That's what this project is all about, and why it's so complicated, and why the timeline is longer than we expect, longer than we want, but necessary for us to be able to deliver restoration that can outlive our generation and provide benefits for the generations of the future. So BBSEER is taking this into account, and an amazing team of engineers, scientists, and other technical experts are really working together to take on this complicated challenge. Historically, water flowed in a symbiotic way to the bay. We created barriers and pathways to facilitate development. And so we have to figure out how not just to restore what once was, because the shoreline has changed, the conditions have changed, but rather create progressive transition of habitat from inland to the sea. That's what these tools that this team is developing, modeling, and considering alternatives is all about. Restore the connectivity of the transition from freshwater to saltwater. Make sure that that gradient, which is critical to the success of the Bay and critical to the success of this project actually works. It's really hard. It's really challenging. It's really exciting, and it's really important. And so now through July, the Interagency Modeling Center is modeling the initial alternatives to show how the amount of fresh water can be stored and then moved to meet the project objectives. What's really important, and at this point, I want James Duncan in the back to stand up or raise his hand there, because he's the local member of the Miami-Dade County staff that is critically engaged in this process. You can see on this timeline, this looks like forever. It's not forever for two reasons. One is that we are looking at things that can be implemented now with all the partners that are participating in the project delivery team. We're looking for solutions that can be implemented now while this project is still being planned. Second, it's important to engage now because of all the things that Carolina talked about. There's an enormous amount of technical research and work that people need to understand so that when we get to a tentative solution, the tentatively selected plan in the summer of 2024, everybody understands it. Everybody's on board. We're already implementing things that will help this project be successful along the way. And we have commitment to really engage at the state and federal levels to make this project happen as it moves forward. And so one of the many points of contact is James being involved at this level. And so I encourage you to get to know him and to participate in this process. The next meeting is the public meeting with the project delivery team next Wednesday, June 1st at 10 o'clock. Our links to the project website and to emails to contact people are on our slides. I'd encourage you to get engaged, be part of the process, and help us deliver solutions to the Bay. Thank you very much.
Two minutes for Q&A. Okay. So if you would like to look at the monitor right here, the center, there should be questions. And if not, do you see questions there? No? No. Okay, how about we take audience questions for 2 minutes? Anybody, please feel free. Go well in 2 minutes. First one, more straight here. If you want to repeat the question here, so the audience.
Yeah. Thank you. The question is about saltwater intrusion, and they want to know what we are doing. So there are several things that we are doing. First is, how can we maintain our canal levels higher during the dry season? So we really maintain the saltwater from the saltwater interface to the ocean side. So that's done through operations of those canals. That's why we need more and more flexibility, because with sea level rising, we are going to need to maintain the canals higher, especially during the dry season, to protect saltwater intrusion. We monitor chloride levels. We have saltwater interface maps that we publish every 4 years, 5 years. We monitor along the way, and we have the formal movement of the line being documented every 5 years in a formal publication from the agency. And we also have water supply plans that we do at 5 different basins, areas. Every year we update one. We are updating the Lower West Coast right now. We look at all the vulnerabilities of the system. We anticipate future sea level rise, how this might imply, what are the well fields that are being vulnerable, and how can we coordinate in advancing additional strategies. We have a program in place that's called Alternative Water Supply Development. This is also part of the solution, as we understand we might limit our water sources to saltwater intrusion. So there is a lot of things, initiatives going on at the agency, and happy to partner with Miami-Dade County and WASD as well in a few of those.